Grok has said that USA men's national team will win the World Cup in the future. For those of you that don't know, Grok is Elon Musk's new AI app, artificial intelligence, and you can ask it questions. And I like Grok, and I think it's fairly objective and accurate. For one, it constantly tells me that Elon Musk is the largest spreader of misinformation on all of Twitter. So Grok is not inherently biased. So I asked Grok, will USA men's national team win the World Cup in the future, and to explain why. All right, so here was the answer, the projection. At the current rate, the U.S. will likely, in the short term, 26 to 2030, produce enough world-class talent, 5 to 7 players, to reach World Cup quarterfinals or semifinals akin to Belgium's 2018 run. Midterm, 2034 to 2038, regularly field squads with 7 to 10 top players, making them consistent contenders like Spain or Germany now. Long term, 2042 to 2050. If cultural and systemic growth continues, the U.S. could produce World Cup winning squads with multiple stars in depth rivaling Brazil or France. Not only that, though, I asked Grok why so many people don't like this prediction and even get hostile about it, and it gave me answers. So for starters, it argued European soccer supremacy and cultural bias. Historical dominance. European nations alongside South American powerhouses like Brazil and Argentina have dominated soccer for over a century. World Cup has been won exclusively by teams from these regions, creating a sense of entrenched superiority. The idea of the USA, a nation historically focused on sports like American football, basketball, and baseball, challenging this order can feel like an affront to European soccer identity. Cultural stereotypes. Soccer is deeply woven into the cultural fabric of many European countries, often tied to national pride. The U.S., by contrast, is sometimes stereotyped as a newcomer with a shallow soccer tradition, lacking the passion and infrastructure to compete at the highest level. The perception fuels dismissive and hostile reactions to optimistic USA men's national team projections. And there is a resistance to change. The rise of the U.S. men's national team threatens the established hierarchy. For some European fans, acknowledging the U.S. as a potential soccer power feels like ceding ground in a sport that they view as theirs. Something that I have stated in the past, but it doesn't just talk about European opinions. It also talks about American Euro snobs. So, skepticism among American soccer fans. Underdog mentality. This one might be a little fair. Some American fans have internalized the narrative of the U.S. as an underdog in global soccer. This mindset, reinforced by decades of modest international results, makes bold predictions about the World Cup success seem unrealistic or overly optimistic. Fear of jinxing process. This is a little more superstitious, but I understand it. Fans who follow USA men's national team struggles may be cautious about grandiose predictions, fearing they could set unrealistic expectations and invite ridicule if unmet. Then the last one, and this is the Euro snobs. Cultural cringe. A subset of American fans, particularly those deeply engaged in European soccer, may adopt a self-depreciating stance to align with global soccer culture. They might view bold claims of USA men's national team as typically American arrogance, distancing themselves from such optimism to avoid seeming naive. Then we also have a general psychological and social factor, status quo bias. People tend to resist predictions that disrupt established norms. The idea of U.S. becoming a soccer powerhouse challenges the status quo, prompting defensive reactions from the current order. This is one of the most common arguments I get. Schadenfreude or rivalry. For some, particularly in Europe, the U.S.'s growing soccer ambition is target for mockery, especially given the country's dominance in other global spheres, economy, entertainment. The prospect of American success in soccer can feel like another thing the USA is trying to take over. And another thing I've said before, you guys are horrified that the USA, who is dominant in entertainment, economics, politics, music, food, all these things, you don't want us to have soccer too. We're not allowed to also have soccer. And the hostility towards optimism, bold predictions, even if grounded in evidence, such as this one, can be mistaken for hubris. Fans or pundits who argue in favor of USA men's national team potential may be seen as overstepping or ignoring the sport's complexities, triggering backlash. And we go why it's plausible despite the skepticism. Youth soccer development invests heavily in soccer academies, MLS youth academies, and we are already producing players that can play in the top 5 leagues like Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie. Growing soccer culture. Soccer's popularity is surging in the U.S. with MLS expanding record TV audiences for international matches, and the 2026 World Cup will accelerate interest. Demographic change. The U.S. has a large, diverse population and strong athletic talent pool. As soccer gains more traction, more elite athletes will choose soccer over other sports. Infrastructure and resources. The U.S. has the financial and logistical capacity to build world-class facilities and attract top coaching. Lastly, not only that, I asked Grok to predict a top 10 best teams in about 20, 30 years time from now. And I'm only going to show you number 1 for now, because guess who's number 1? The USA. Why? The USA's massive population, 340 million, projected to reach 400 million by 2050, offers an unmatched talent pool. Soccer's popularity is surging among youth, driven by 2026 World Cup. MLS growth, potentially a top league by 2045. Another prediction I've made in the past. And high-profile players like Lionel Messi. Pay-to-play is reformed. The USA could unlock diverse talent from urban and immigrant communities. Economic power, 26 trillion GDP, supports investment, academies, technology, AI scouting, and hosting future World Cups. Cultural shifts towards soccer, especially among younger generations, could remake it into a top sport by 2050. Exponential growth potential is exponential as soccer moves from a niche to a mainstream sport, and likely to host another World Cup in 2050. Now, you have to take anything from artificial intelligence like Grok with a little grain of salt. It's not perfect and it is flawed. However, I do think it is objective, and it uses research data and evidence to come up with these projections. Something similar to what I have done in the past, and it also acknowledged the same thing that I have. A lot of the biggest detractors to my prediction here aren't actually making an evidence-based critique. They're making an emotionally based critique because they don't want USA to be dominant at soccer. But it doesn't actually matter what you guys want, because your want doesn't actually make good soccer teams. The United States of America is going to become a world soccer superpower in the future. And it's because we have a very large population, a very strong economy, and a growing soccer culture. So, by 2040, or maybe the 2050s, USA men's national team and USA women's national team are going to be winning World Cups probably on a regular basis. We won't be the only ones, but we're going to be winning. And there's nothing you can do about it. If you hate the idea of America being good at soccer, watch a different sport.